Welcome to the Black Liberation Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance LLC and hosted by Dr. Renée Jordan. This podcast is a accumulation of Dr. Jordan's dissertation work and her passion for empowering Latinas, Afro-Latinas, Black women, and girls to navigate the academic and professional worlds with confidence and success. Whether you're a mother or a guardian guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, an undergrad or grad student, someone working on a dissertation or thesis, or simply looking to carve out your niche in the career landscape, this podcast is for you. Each episode, Dr. Jordan shares her story, offers invaluable advice, and provides practical coaching to help you thrive in school, work, and beyond. Join our community on patreon.com/Black Liberation Tech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. You're also welcome to follow Black Liberation Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventure in Inglés o Español. Tune in, get inspired, and let's embark on this journey together. Welcome to Black Liberation Tech, where your success story begins. Okay, so now I'm going to keep going. All right, persistence. Think of a time when you stayed committed to learning something difficult. How did you keep going, and what strategies helped you to persist? Enter ways you could use similar strategies to persist in tech. Okay, so when I was getting my PhD, that was definitely a time where I had to commit. And I'm going to type it just the way I said it. I'll clean it up. All right. While pursuing my PhD, I stayed committed to learning on my own about my research interests, my populations of interest, and the various qualitative research methodologies, methods of data collection and analysis. I'll say methods of data collection as well as analysis. It took me 7 years to finish. I was able to keep going by being highly engaged, by engaging in research and teaching that allowed me to learn continuously about what I needed to know for my dissertation and explored various tools, qualitative research tools along the way. Okay, I served as a GRA for 3 years and shared my research through at least 10 presentations, conference presentations. Through these presentations, I received feedback from my peers that I would also consider towards my final dissertation. I also served as a conference proposal and journal reviewer to see how others approached research and provided them with feedback. I also did it to stay up to date on what was happening in my field and related fields. So not just instructional technology, but education policy. I would also engage in special interest groups that fit my areas. So Black students, African American students, indigenous knowledge, since I was interested in using an African philosophy. I also engaged in this way to stay up to date on what was happening in my field and related fields. Okay. Moreover, I served as session chairs and moderators to engage in scholarly dialogue with those presenting their work and the audience. What helped me to persist was to work on my dissertation proposal, I'll put in a sense and literally, over the course of time while working with others. I would use the literature reviews as opportunities to gather information that fit the nuances of my research interests, as well as address the purpose of the research that I did with my advisor. Because our research interests align closely, it was not a far reach to go from the presentations with my advisor, I'll say advisors, to my proposal. Those conferences prepared me to do my work and defend it at the end of my program. Okay, enter ways you could use similar strategies to persist in tech. I can use similar strategies of trying out new tools as I work on my OER. I'll say the OER. Along the way, I don't have to wait until a certain point in time in order to say, okay, I'm going to build it out, or okay, I'm going to publish it. No, I'm going to allow myself to publish as I go, get feedback as I go, modify it as I go, and allow it to be a work in progress. And also allow myself to evolve in terms of the technology that I use along the way. Okay, so I don't have to wait until I have everything done to publish the OER. I can work on the different parts as I go, learn new technologies to integrate as I go, include input from others as I go. I can allow it to be a work in progress. I don't have to have everything done before publishing it. I can work on multiple parts at one time and allow things to come together organically. So I will say this as a side note for those of you who are working on research papers, dissertations, thesis. If you're at the proposal stage, for me, the proposal stage meant the first three chapters, the introduction, the literature review, and my methodology. So although those chapters are in order, I did not have to work on them in order. And as a result of being exposed to so many tools, I allowed myself to narrow down what worked for me and what did not work for me based on my experiences in those conferences. I was able to present, I was able to share, I was able to get feedback, I was able to see how those different methods of data collection, data analysis worked for me or did not fit or suit my intended purpose, and therefore just thought about other things to use and do. And so another thing that I would do, and I've said this before, is that I would go to the prospectus and dissertation defenses of others in the College of Education. My prospectus, my dissertation defense, those were not the first defenses that I attended. When I got the announcement, I took a look at the abstract, the title, and said to myself, is this something that I feel like I can learn from? Am I interested? Am I just curious about their work? Am I interested in their work? And so I actually attended both the proposal defense and the dissertation defense of someone who was in music education, and they used daughtering. And so as a result of experiencing her proposal defense and her dissertation defense, I was introduced to daughtering and adopted the use of daughtering for my dissertation. Okay, so curiosity. What's one tech concept or tool you've always been curious about? Enter how you plan to explore this curiosity, whether it's through a course, a book, or building something simple. So, one tech concept or a tool, one tech tool that I've always been interested in, curious about, would be a chatbot. So I plan to explore this curiosity by building something simple. I will start with a platform that, come on now, I spelled platform correctly. I will start with a platform that does not require coding, and I will limit the responses to the data I provided. If the user asks any questions outside of that, then I'm going to have have instructions that say, hey, that's beyond what I'm able to answer. Feel free to reach out to Dr. Jordan directly or see if there's someone else that can help you better. So if the user asks for something outside of the scope of the provided data, the chat bot will inform the user that the request is outside of its scope. That way, it's not just making up stuff. And I'll put hallucinating. All right. Lane identification. What's something you naturally excel at, a talent or gift that could give you an edge in tech? Enter how you could use this strength to find your unique lane in the industry and how you might focus your growth efforts. So, I excel at giving direct instructions, phrasing instructions, asking clarifying questions, asking guided questions, and training others on how to use technology tools. A wide range. This talent could give me an edge in training others on how to use no code prompt engineering to their advantage. It also gives me an edge because I'm able to prompt engineer lessons that include prompt engineering lessons that will allow the user to explore their own interests. These lessons can then double over to serve additional purposes. 1. The user becomes more familiar with prompt engineering in general. The user is able to modify the lessons for their unique purposes. And when I say their unique purposes, I'll give an example. So let's say instead of tech being the focus of this lesson, pursuing a PhD is the focus. So wherever you see tech career, you can swap that out for PhD or doctoral studies and modify the prompt so that they are geared towards your specific interests. You don't have to wait on me to create it. That's something that I want to get out there. So yes, you have my lessons as an example, but you don't have to follow it exactly. Let's say instead of tech, you say STEM. Let's say instead of STEM, you say the humanities. Let's say instead of humanities, you say liberal arts. Instead of liberal arts, you can insert whatever discipline, whatever field, whatever genre. If you want to turn it into prompts that help you write, hey, do that. But it's up to you to decide how you use it. Yes, I provide instructions, but they are not set in stone. They are really suggestions. And so these lessons, they're not a test. There's not going to be a test at the end other than an exploration of what you are interested in. And the test or the assessment is to see if the lesson is able to help meet your needs, help you to explore, help you to learn something new, and then what that something new is actually up to you. It's not limited to how I design the lessons. All right, we're getting closer. Because what's going to happen, I'm going to use this information from the prompts in my prompt. So to their unique purpose and interests. For example, instead of exploring tech careers, they can explore STEM careers or careers in the humanities or careers supported by a liberal arts education, law, or anything else. Perhaps they use the prompts to look into doctoral programs, and I'll put PhD, etc. on their own. All right. Non-tech related prompts. So I'm going to stop sharing there and I'm going to head back to the lesson. So pacing yourself. We're almost there. I'm telling you, this part is going to go faster. So I'm going to go back to my Word document. That is getting longer, but that's okay. All right. So pacing yourself. Think of a non-tech goal you work toward. Example, training or a race. Learning to cook, mastering a musical instrument. How did you break that goal down into manageable steps? Enter how this approach could be applied to learning tech skills. Okay, so I was in a singing competition, How Sweet the Sound, with my home choir, the James E. Jordan Adult Choir, and that's at Refreshing Spring Church of God in Christ in Riverdale, Maryland. And so we won the DC regional competition, and we recognized that we would need to improve our singing techniques as we got ready for the national competition. And as a result, we incorporated vocal techniques as well as the choreography that we would be singing until it became muscle memory. And so we had people who were skilled and actually went to school for music to help us along the way. So we broke that goal up into manageable pieces. The goal of going to a national competition by attending the regularly scheduled rehearsals that were twice a week until the competition. And I incorporated those vocal techniques. I practiced the choreography, but I also would not allow myself to yell or scream. I was a teacher and that wasn't my thing anyway, but I would not allow myself to yell or scream or strain my voice as I prepared, so that the progress that I was making through those rehearsals and the vocal training did not suffer. I also went to the gym. So that helped, because the choreography is one thing to sing, rock, and clap. It's another thing to sing and keep in time with choreography as you sing. And although the whole song, I think, had to be 4 minutes and 20 seconds or something like that, it was intense. And so those are the things that helped me to get ready for that competition. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type that out. Now, what I'm going to try and do is see if I can start dictation. Here we go. So one of the non-tech goals that I had was to compete in the National How Sweet the Sound competition. My choir and we won the DC regional competition, and we knew that the next time we competed would be at a higher level of competition, the national competition. Therefore, we took extra measures to rehearse regularly, twice a week, and we incorporated vocal training techniques shared by those who went to school for music. In order to help preserve my voice, I shared with my students that I was going to be in a national competition and could not yell. I also went to the gym regularly to help myself with cardio. In addition to singing, we had choreography that was intense, although the song was short. The goal of competing in the national competition was broken down into smaller, manageable steps by showing up regularly in order to get prepared. It also was broken into smaller pieces by incorporating more and more vocal training each time we met. I can use this approach to learning tech skills by continuously learning, by continuously using new technology, by continuously talking to people about the things that I learned and finding out what they know and exploring it for myself if it sounds like something that will fit my needs. I can also attend conferences and find out what is the latest and greatest in terms of research-based practices as it relates to the use of technology tools. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up a little bit. Okay, mindfulness. When you're feeling overwhelmed in your personal life, what activities or practices help you to stay grounded? Enter how these mindful techniques could help you pace yourself in your tech career. All right, I'm going to use this dictation tool. When I'm feeling overwhelmed in my personal life, I take a break. I also treat myself to a very good meal, whether it is tacos or a nice huge salad with all the fixings, a hamburger and fries, or even popcorn at the movies. In order to be mindful as I work on my OER, I can incorporate taking breaks from working on it so that I can give myself time to relax and reflect on how much I have accomplished so far. I've done a lot. All right, so this next question, write about a personal growth journey related to tech. Example, building confidence, learning a new language. What kept you motivated, and how could those motivations apply to your tech career? A personal growth journey for me could be my journey as a writer. That's something that I have worked on, I want to say, the longest alongside of technology. As much as I work on technology, I work on my writing. My writing serves different purposes, and therefore I have different styles. For those different purposes, I do engage in creative writing when I am inspired. And when I do it, it's something that I cannot repeat, or I choose not to repeat when I am not inspired. I can use the thought of being inspired in order to be about those creative pieces when it comes to the OER. I can use those times to allow myself to flourish in that creative space with the technology. And when I'm not feeling creative and I've taken a break, but I want to keep working on something, I can use that time to work on the more redundant tasks, creating show notes for episodes and uploading them into the rss.com site so that the episode is in draft mode and ready to go. Another example would be cutting up the podcast episodes into shorter video clips to be posted on social media. By allowing myself time to be creative with the OER and allowing myself time to do redundant things like editing video, I'm able to continue to work on the OER and push it forward without always relying on being inspired to work on it. There are some fundamental things that I can do in order to keep moving. And by incorporating the new technology tools that I learn along the way, I'm able to continue to expand my technical skills and upgrade the OER as I go. I told you this part was going to move faster. Okay, resilience. Describe a moment when you experienced failure or setbacks in a non-tech context. How did you handle it and keep going? Enter how this experience strengthened your persistence and how you could apply that same resilience to pursuing tech goals. Okay. So a time that I experienced failure would be a time when I was filling in for one of the choir directors for the youth choir. And we were at an evening service, and the song that I worked on with the young people, if not the week before, maybe 2 weeks before, but it was recent, was one of the songs that we were going to sing at the evening service. Now, the song is a Ricky Dillard song, and it's one that has a break where the singers go off and they sing different parts. So the sopranos have their part, the altos have their part, and the tenors have their part. And when I got up there, it was as if we had not sung the song in months. And so I stopped and I started over, and then I stopped and I started over again. And I want to say I gave it a third try, and these young people, they just didn't remember it. And so I just said, okay, that's enough. Time out. Let's sing something else. And so I stepped away. I took a breath and I collected myself. And then I came back to the choir and sung with the young people as they did the rest of their selections. And so that experience, that setback, I'll call it, allowed me to see that it's okay to keep going when things don't work out. It's also okay if things don't work out. sometimes things just don't work out. And I did not hold it against the young people. Instead, I recognized that that song was very complicated, and a part of the success with the song before was that we got to practice it the day before. So it was fresh in their minds. And so I did what my mom would say, which was just keep showing up, keep showing up. That was her advice. And so I did. And I was able to have other opportunities to work with the young people and to direct them and to experience success with them in terms of delivering the song just as well as they did in rehearsal. This experience strengthened my persistence because I understand that things don't always go your way, comma. I understand that stuff happens, comma. I understand that life happens, comma. I understand that it's possible to do something really, really good one time, and because of the amount of time or space that elapses from that moment of success, you can try it again and it just not work as well. And it could be no fault of your own. It just happens. So I can apply this same resilience while I pursue tech by knowing sometimes things don't just work out the way you want them to. And that's okay. I'm showing up, doing these lives, and I can see that people are popping in and out, but they're not quite staying. And that's okay, period. Because this is practice for me. And so, like my mom said, I'm going to keep showing up. And nothing is lost, because not only is it good practice, it's also allowing me to record content at the same time. The content for my podcast, the content for my social media posts, and the content for what will become the chatbot. All right. So that is the end of those prompts and questions. Thank you for tuning in to the BlackLiberation.Tech podcast, brought to you by Jordan Nuance LLC and hosted by Dr. Renée Jordan. We hope today's episode has inspired you and provided valuable insights to help you navigate your academic and professional journey with confidence and success. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, as well as rate and review the podcast to help it become more discoverable. Whether you're guiding a child through grades 6 through 12, tackling undergraduate or graduate studies, working on a dissertation or thesis, or exploring your career options, this podcast is here to support you every step of the way. Join our community on patreon.com/BlackLiberationTech and become a member for as low as $5 per month. As a member, you'll enjoy exclusive access to live recordings, impromptu academic and career coaching, and a network of like-minded individuals committed to mutual support and success. Don't forget to follow Black Liberation Tech on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Visit black-liberation.tech for even more information on Dr. Jordan's adventures, available in both English and Spanish. Stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.